and a store near this area, he was on the right track.
Chimbo uno pudiera saltar de por aquí en el juego. Bueno, supone que las pinzas era para abrir. Es para abrirle el portón ese.
Hamilton never mentioned a road-blocking barrier. Why was it needed here in the back of Beyond? That would, however, be a mystery for another day. Carl had waited long enough for someone to come and raise it. Still not a soul in sight. There was no point in waiting any longer. Carl had to figure this one out by himself. Hamilton is waiting for Carl in the general store. It was time for him to get down to business. William Hamilton enjoyed a lavish country house built in the very heart of the northern forests.
Voy a arriado.
The local populace was divided when it came to the affluent man. Some saw a wealthy philanthropist dedicated to improving the region's economy. Others an aging Englishman who would do anything to further his fortunes. And those ones hated him enough to go on about scheming against him. Hamilton had recently acquired a few local businesses, but the last straw was the reopening of a mine, which gave rise to a wave of protests and threats from the Cree people. Given these circumstances, Carl reckoned that a good number of people must be feeling compelled to oppose Hamilton in one way or another. So far, only the industrialist's house had been a target, but soon enough, Carl thought, the target would become the man himself. Carl needed to get out of there. The cold and the pain required urgent care. scratches did not stop Carl, his mother would be so proud. The driver had taken off. It was still best to check it out and leave nothing to chance. Carl needed help. It was a small, locked box engraved with the letters W.H. Carl thought about taking it. Nothing was to be left to chance. This deep in the country, his last hope was to find an abandoned garage or a farm by the roadside. His life depended on it.
La carretera, y yo creo que por acá uno se llega.
It was so cold. Already Carl did not feel his toes anymore.
Man, ya ni salta. Metas a la cabaña antes porque coja calorcito.
The flames won't grow without some help. Other materials were required.
Ay, linterna.
Even better than he had hoped.
Yo supongo
Carl
que es para el
Faubert had
carro.
succeeded once more and was now on his way to new adventures.
Uy, ve, hasta acá afuera uno puede prender la cadena es para jalar el carro. La cadena es para la llanta. Que con qué le iba a jalar. pendejo.
Spread out on a few acres of untouched forest, bellowing caribou, everlasting snow, and undefiled lakes, the Manistan region was no tourist hub. It was said to have been populated for millennia by Cree people, and ever since the industrial era, by the metal mining industry. The truck was running on fumes. Good thing that the general store was close by.
Llegué a la posada.
Given the circumstances, leaving with an empty tank would be a death warrant. Carl had to refuel. Something fell at the bottom of the box.
Vamos, una llave.
Carl had no trouble recognizing his employer. He had been killed. There was no need to be a detective to figure that out. But only a detective could have noticed that the killer had to have been very close, that the fatal blow had been given before the victim even realized. note explained that the garage and the store couldn't be supplied with electricity at the same time. Maintaining his composure, Carl recalled something from his military training. Wolves always stay away from populated areas. Wait, was it about bears? The flames won't grow without some help. Other materials were required. A radiator without power is as good as a wood stove without logs. An explosion suddenly occurred outside. The snowstorm pummeled everything in its path. Carl was not surprised when he heard no tone. Carl knew that Gilles Lachance was in charge of the general store. That made him one of Hamilton's employees. A very angry employee, as Carl could plainly see. According to that log, it seemed like the whole village owed some money to the general store. Carl was far more interested in the bunch of nearby addresses he had just gotten his hands on, though.
Sobre la máquina registradora teclea el precio. Dos números como mínimo, pulsa, sale. Cargar la venta. Entonces, cómo la golpea uno. Llave.
Carl was no electrician, but he could identify a wiring problem when he saw
Pinza es
one.
porque ya. No, pues las pinzas.
Carl's scout training was buried deep in his memory. What do you need again to start a fire?
¿Qué era esa llave?
The note explained that the garage and the store couldn't be supplied with electricity at the same time.
¿Dónde eran las otras llaves?
Carl felt a chill down his spine and had a terrifying realization. If Hamilton was dead, then who was going to pay him? A nice picture of the Magasin Lachance store, seemingly taken the day it was first opened. It feels frozen in time, from an era long forgotten.
¿Qué horas arropé ese man yo?
Given the circumstances, leaving with an empty tank would be a death warrant. Carl had to refuel. Given the circumstances, leaving with an empty tank would be a death warrant. Carl had to refuel. Carl felt that the store and its surroundings still held their secrets, and he didn't like to miss out. Carl was used to strange phenomena, but a chunk of ice like this, as if an iceberg came out of the ground, that was a first.